topic. I'm talking about the after playing it for 3 weeks and telling my story on a previous episode about how I didn't get to play it for a few days after it came out. I'm going to talk about Octopath Traveler, a game that I was really looking forward to. If you've been listening to the podcast, you would know.
Yeah.
I've been talking about it for a long time.
Yes, you have.
Yep. So it's the Octopath Traveler is a game for the Nintendo Switch developed by Square Enix in collaboration with Acquire, who is the studio behind such classics as Way of the Samurai. No, more well known for they weren't the ones who did
Bravely Default. Right?
Bravely Default, were they?
I assume so. The people that worked on Bravely Default did
work on this game. Yeah, I think it was Acquire then. For some reason, I'm thinking Acquire wasn't, but I don't know.
This is here in collaboration with Acquire.
Yeah.
But developed by Square Enix.
Yeah, so I think they basically like work with Square now and stuff like that. But yeah, so they're putting out basically like what old school style Final Fantasy games are kind of like, that more style of game as compared to the SNES era of Final Fantasy, as compared to
the greatest,
the modern slant. Yes, the greatest game of all time, Final Fantasy 15. But no, so the big thing about Octopath Traveler is that it has 8 different characters, thus the term Octopath. They each have their own individual stories, and you kind of meet up and they help each other out along their stories. Another big part of the game is that it has path actions, which I would describe as sort of like Paper Mario-esque character abilities. If anyone listening has ever played a Paper Mario game, it's ways to interact with NPCs and in the environment outside of battle. Each character has their own unique one, but they kind of overlap with each other. So Ulbrich is a warrior, that's his class. So he can challenge people to duels to help you get inside houses where you might have an NPC you need to talk to for a side quest, or there might be like a treasure chest, and he'll fight a one-on-one duel with this person. If you beat them, they're knocked unconscious, you can go in. Whereas Haunted can also do that as a hunter, but she does it differently, whereas you can only use her beast abilities. And if you fail, you lose reputation in town. What are you going to ask, Mal?
Can't they sometimes be used a little differently?
Yeah,
I mean, I think I heard like there was this one with the duelist guy. What was his name? Ulbrich,
yeah.
Ulbrich. At one point, there was this couple or something that the guy seemed basically like a wimp, so you can lose the duel on purpose to impress the chick.
I haven't actually got to that part yet or done that side quest, but you do use them to do
part of a specific side quest as opposed to just a use of the ability.
Yeah, and all the side quests involve like finding out which character path action that you need to do to complete the quest. Sometimes you'll have to like get an NPC to follow you to some other city. You'll have to like steal or buy an item off of a character. That's like one example of how they're different. So there's a thief class. You can steal items from NPCs, which is really good and helps you get really good gear and you don't waste money on it. Or you can buy them. And basically there's noble path actions and rogue path actions. Noble ones you have to be like a higher level than like the general level area of the town to like actually be able to perform them most of the time. Whereas rogue ones you can do at any time, but there's a chance of failure. And if you fail, you suffer reputation loss in the town. You can fail 5 times, and if you fail 5 times, you can't do any path actions in the town unless you like bribe the barkeep to basically put in a good word for you to the citizens. Go, no, they're cool. But so that's
totally won't steal from you again.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just try to steal from them again. But anyways, the that's kind of like the main out of combat conceit of the game. The in combat conceit it's a lot like Bravely Default.
I'm told the combat is really good.
It is amazing. You like Bravely Default, you get boost points basically, which you can use to take multiple actions on one turn. But in Bravely Default, whereas you had to defend, you just get one every turn basically. In this game, they can enhance your spells, make status effects like buffs or debuffs last longer. Offensive stuff does more damage.
Can I skip random encounters?
There is an ability that you can learn that doesn't skip them. At least I haven't discovered one that does so yet. There's like 4 secret classes that I haven't found the shrines for yet. There may be one in there, but there is one that I think halves encounter rate.
That should be a feature in all RPGs.
Yeah, and the encounter rate is pretty like not high.
Oh, that's good.
As is.
Not Final Fantasy 1 levels.
Yeah. And you can pretty much like flee easily. But the combat's fun, so I don't mind fighting the random encounters.
Well,
I have 61 hours in the game right now. I'm basically 3/4 the way through because every character has 4 chapters. I've done every character's 3rd chapter. And I am over leveled because I just like fighting the battles and capturing monsters and doing.
Well, it's also got
stuff.
jobs, right? Which means
and the job system is like my favorite way to do old school.
Doesn't
JRPGs.
Doesn't the combat also got a bit of the Shin Megami influence of like hitting weaknesses?
Yep. The other big thing is that each enemy has a weakness to a certain weapon type, whereas Shin Megami Tensei games are all about an element. There are elemental attacks and stuff. There's 6 different elements, I believe, maybe 7. No, there's only 6. There's fire, ice, lightning, wind, light, and darkness. And basically, when you figure out enemy's weakness, just like the SMT games, you'll know it every time you encounter that enemy.
Right.
The Scholar class can also analyze enemies and find their weaknesses and stuff. And the enemies also have shield points, which is somewhat similar to SMT games, where you kind of try to break your enemy. So when they take a certain number of hits of their weakness, they'll lose a turn, and every attack you do against them will be a critical hit. Okay. So a lot of the strategy is saving up your BP so you can break them before they're going to use their big attack, or mitigating damage, like incoming damage, by trying to break all the enemies using your SP on moves that will hit the whole all the enemies and stuff like that. There's lots of cool strategy and stuff, and the boss fights actually get really hard towards the end, which I appreciate. It uses the system cleverly. It's just a lot of fun, the fighting, and the job system is a lot like 5, but not as versatile. You can't have more than one person multi-classing into a different job at one time. You're kind of like, if I have one of my characters as a merchant, none of my other characters can also be a merchant. So but at the same time, it's fun to learn the abilities. You get job points in every battle. So if people out there played FF5, you get abilities. You also have like passive skill things that you can always have equipped, and certain abilities that you can only use when you're that specific job. So it's really fun to find out cool combinations of abilities. Like one really good one is Scholars are kind of like your black mage. Essentially, they have the 3 main element attacks: fire, ice, and lightning, and they also have a double hit version that's more strong. But so they're very SP intensive. You can put your Scholar into Dancer, and Dancer has a passive SP regeneration that you get for getting so many skills unlocked in Dancer that you can equip. So it becomes less SP intensive, and you can use your powerful spells more. So, like, one of my favorite ones is Hunter and Thief combined together. Hunter has lots of, like, trigger, like, percentage trigger for extra attacks, and, like, getting an extra turn at the end of every turn. So you can use that, like, if you put your I have my Thief and Hunter mixed together, so he has 4 different weapon types, and he also gets lots of extra action. So I'll use him to like break bosses a lot of the time is my strategy. Since he has so many different weapons, odds are one of them the boss is probably vulnerable to, and then he gets lots of percentage chance for extra attacks and actions. So he might get to like attack 6 times in one turn and knock down 6 parts of his shield down. So it's been pretty highly praised for the most part that I've seen. Some people are more in on it, and I understand why. The big, like, kind of, not really controversy, I'd say, but, like, sticking point going into the game is that do the 8 separate stories and stuff intersect at one point?
Right.
Go on. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, the reason I haven't really felt the need to play it is, my understanding is, at least for most of the time, they don't, like, interact at all.
Yeah, and there is some, like, immersion breaking and stuff.
Right.
And I can
why is this...
Yeah, like there's a part where one of the characters gets thrown in a dungeon by a bad guy, and I'm like, where were the other characters at helping at this point?
Right.
So there's like that kind of stuff that's immersion breaking.
And then like, why is this sweet whatever, I can't remember the class person.
Yeah, the cleric traveling with the thief while he steals stuff.
Yeah.
That is not as bad, I think. That's a bit more...
I just wish they honestly, it's like you're playing 8 mini stories, and the extras, like outside of combat, they're not there basically. So
yeah, you get little skits that are kind of like Tales games, and those are good.
Have to be in your party to trigger them.
Yeah, those are good. You can actually go to the inn and like get switch out party members and stuff and get theirs to trigger too, so you can hear what everyone has to say. It's kind of a pain still, but you can do it if you're looking for that. I actually like them, and that's not really a big hang up for me. I was a little bit worried reading the reviews going into actually playing the game.
I mean, most of the reviews are really good.
Yeah. Like everyone said, like that was like the one negative, like if anything, like across the board, like the most, the one that came out the most
was
was
a big thing for me because I play these games almost exclusively for story.
Yeah, but and here's my but. The stories on their own, I think, are actually really good and intriguing for the most part. Like, there's only one character I'm not overly fond of, and that's Haunted. They are like fairly like they're not doing anything like out of the norm. The stories they're kind of
sticking
like,
to their tropes.
Yeah. They are tropey, but they're still good. They're still fun. The game basically reminds me of if someone made an SNES D&D game. Because the way everyone gets together feels very much like a D&D game. Everyone kind of has their arc. You do see connections between the stories as you play them.
I know there are some, but like just the characters don't interact.
Yeah, you'll see like recurring villains and stuff. So there is an overarching story. But yeah, it would have been nice to have more character interaction, for sure. And to not have a little bit of immersion breaking kind of scenes and stuff because there is so little interaction. Like even like a few lines here and there. But I mean, I really thought about it and I'm like, in most RPGs, you don't really get a lot of that, at least like in older ones. This is kind of like trying to be,
I guess.
Like in FF6, did the characters really chime in that much beyond like 2 or 3 lines for any given scene? And that's kind of like what you get.
All like doing things in the story, like while they're all theirs.
Yeah. I know.
It wasn't. They weren't all on their own story with all the others in the background. You know, you weren't. Also, I heard another minor complaint is that it can get, especially the early stages, can get kind of repetitive.
Yeah, before you get all the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that too, but I didn't mind it as much just because the fighting and stuff was so fun. Like you do lots of dungeon stuff. I think the dungeon design could be a little better too, but
I think like it basically if you can make it through everyone's first chapter, you'll be fine with the rest of the game. Like that's kind of the make or break. Which luckily there's a demo of. Mm-hmm. You can just play everyone's first chapter through the demo.
Yep.
And see if it's actually the game for you, right?
Mm-hmm. And if you don't like it in the first 3 hours, you know you're not going to like the game pretty much. But
basically, you have to do everyone's first chapter because of the levels. Like you can go on to the second
you don't
chapters,
have to. You don't have to. You can
harder.
even not get some characters, but yeah,
right.
it would be more difficult. But yeah, I love the job system. I really like the story actually so far. I like finding the connections between everyone's story. Like, oh, this guy was here at this point probably, and these things are like you can kind of see how they're like starting to connect, and what like the final dungeon that supposedly like actually interweaves everything together.
Right.
It feels very much like a D&D game in the way like everyone has an arc and a goal, and everyone like helps in the party helps each other fulfill their goals and their tasks they're trying to do. And they do very much feel like D&D like character background like stuff they have to do. Like for instance, Therion the thief like doesn't want to trust anyone because his former partner stabbed him in the back, and now he's got roped into basically helping out a noblewoman find these 3 artifacts that she wants. So that's like a D&D character story, basically. Like Ophelia the cleric is on a journey to like bring part of the sacred flame to all the different churches across the world. So like, and she does it in place of her adopted sister who can't go on the journey because her dad's sick. It's got little stuff like that, and they meet and interact and help each other out like an actual D&D game. It just would have been nice to have a little bit more character interaction. And the way it kind of like I guess is all gonna come together in one final boss dungeon arc thing also kind of feels very D&D to me. So it feels like they tried to make like a D&D game but 20 years ago, I guess, or more now, the SNES era. But I don't know. It's great. I love it.
Apparently, it's doing well, so might even get a sequel.
It shipped over 1 million copies. I hope it does, or at least they make like Bravely Default 2. It doesn't have to be the same characters, but
I mean, Bravely Default 2 was half the same characters.
Yeah, but like this, like game system and style, and maybe like take
also,
people's feedback.
Really good.
Yeah, the music is amazing. It's like if you love SNES era RPGs, if you liked Bravely Default, you're gonna like the game, I think. If you're all about that system. If like having lots and lots of character interaction like a Tales game is like your selling point for why you like role-playing games, then you might not be as interested in the game. So,
like, I think I'd enjoy playing it. I just don't feel like getting around to it right now.
Yeah, it's a backlog game for now, in a sense.
Yeah.
Wait till it goes on sale, basically. But
it's kind of where I'm at.
It's really good. I think it's going to take me like 100 hours to beat it, too.
Yeah, I also heard it's a long game.
I enjoy the crap out of playing it.
Part of me right now just kind of wants to go back through Persona 5 also, which is a
I've been watching someone
itself.
stream Persona 5, so I've been like, for the first time, so I've been like vicariously experiencing it again through him. But
see, the problem with me is when I watch someone stream, it makes a game I like, it makes me want to play the game.
Yeah, I
it doesn't scratch that itch.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, this is everything I wanted it and thought it would be and hoped it to be, and it's like even slightly exceeded it. I don't know how anything's going to beat this for me for the rest of the year. DQ11 might. DQ11 might.
Oh, yeah,
I think if anything contends with Octopath for Game of the Year for me, it's going to be DQ11. I haven't been this in love with a game since Persona 5, which was only 1.5 years ago. So, but it's really good. It's my favorite Switch game so far. So it's taken the place of Breath of the Wild for favorite Switch game. It's not a better game than Breath of the Wild. If I had to rate it, I probably would give it an 8. But
it's just your jam.
Yeah, it's totally me. I love old school SNES style RPGs. I play it at my friend's house all the time. That's where I grind on weekends before we game. I can take it on the go with me. I can chill out for. It is like all the reviews say, where it's like a perfect like pick up and play for 2 hours, because that's about how long it takes to beat someone's chapter. It is perfect for like right before bed or like get home and veg out kind of game and play for a few hours. I don't know. It's just really good. I can't praise it enough. It has flaws, but the flaws are not insurmountable here, and it's the perfect love letter to any Super NES style games, and it just looks beautiful. I love the art direction.
Yeah, I do like the art style.
Yeah, I love the sprites and the pop-up 3D book, world and stuff. And I really love the character art. I think it's the guy who does the tactics art.
Oh.
And it's also Bravely Default's character artwork. So
I do not love Bravely Default's in-game art style as much. Like it's that
it's like the Final Fantasy IV DS art style.
Yeah, it's that generic Square
Chibi.
Enix DS game.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that the new Mana game did, and
yeah,
it's the same thing.
Do sprites, man. Sprites look good.
Yeah,
they always look good. So yeah, but yeah, if you know if Octopath's going to be the game for you, you know if it isn't, like it's not for Tets.
Yeah.
Tets does not want to grind,
but yeah,
JRPGs are not the game for Tets. I can't wait to finish it because once I finish it, I'm going to start playing Shining Force Refrain. Which also got really good scores and looks good.
Spider-Man's out soon as well?
Spider-Man is in September, I think.
Oh, okay. Is it? Then DQ11 is first?
Yeah, I'm definitely playing Dragon Quest 11 first. So Shining Force Refrain is going to be what gets me through to DQ11.
Yeah.
The people who've been playing Spider-Man have actually said like the best part of the game is Peter Parker, which excites me. So far,
there are apparently I just saw a list of like some of the costumes. It was a big list.
I think Laura's voicing Mary Jane in the game too.
Oh, neat! I just saw a trailer about Mary Jane being in it, but I hadn't watched it yet.
Yeah.
I will play as Spider Noir, but I doubt I get a revolver to shoot people.
No, just your web bullets.
Which supposedly Nicolas Cage will be Spider Noir in the animated movie coming out Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, okay.
Which will be.
Is that the Miles Morales one?
Yep.
Okay.
And well, it's the Spider. Yeah, he's like the focus, but it is a Spider-Verse movie, so they already showed off. I think 2 of the Peter Parkers.
Yeah, it's like
Spider-Gwen is going to be in it.
Yeah. They're getting their own series movie thing too. Isn't Spider-Gwen and like Squirrel Girl and a couple other characters getting they're getting like a movie or show or something.
I hadn't heard of that. But Into the Spider-Verse looks so good.
But yeah.
Looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
All right. Let's wrap it up here. This has been episode 61 of Podcast 5 Rings, your source of enlightenment in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast 5 Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and SoundCloud, and talk about topic day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. Check us out on Twitter, Podcast5R, Facebook, P5R Podcasts. We got the streams, twitch.tv/PSO Flow and Podcast 5 Rings. You know the spiel. And I don't have to say anything. Someday, both of us will stream again.
Sure.
Lily and them have not been streaming a lot lately either, so.
Oh yeah, they had the whole marriage and now Gen Con.
All the life stuff.
Yeah.
Life. It comes
Silly
really fast.
life.
Yeah, I know. It's a good cereal and a bad board game.
I don't know that it's a good cereal.
It's alright. It's like mid-tier cereal. Reese's Puff is like top-tier cereal in my opinion.
Golden Grams is my one true
Golden
love.
Grams is good too.
Mm-hmm.
I like any flavor of Cheerios, Reese's Puff cereal, Cocoa Puffs, then anything with like cinnamon in it, and then like the rest is like there's some okay cereal, and then whatever. I remember as a kid, I was like really big on Kix.
Got a kick out of it?
Oh, you. That was a much better joke than mine. My life cereal joke. But anyways, let's go. I'm going to go eat some pasta and play some Octopath Traveler. So.
Later.
Bye.